Good evening. Going to wasn't planning on making a video as I'm sat at my dinner table, just eating my tea. I made nachos. Anyway, I'm I have to make this tonight because I had an idea to review Red Dead Redemption 2, which I've just started playing. I had the idea specifically to review it after only playing it for one night because I thought that would be funny because I have very strong opinions about it, which if I actually play any further, I might open myself up to having those currently very strongly supported views invalidated, and I can't have that. So I'm going to review it right now, and this will be my first and final verdict on the game. For time immemorial. I don't even know if that makes any sense. I'm having a wee drink. So, whatever. Anyway, so Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a bit shite, actually. I'd love to do a series of these. I think this would be great. Night 1 review. So, I suppose getting the things that are obviously good about it out of the way. Obviously, it looks good. I don't know how many games about the Wild West have been made. So that's nice. It's not a genre, or you forget that it was actually a period in history. I don't know how historically accurate any of the fiction around it is. I don't know how many games have really been made about that, so it's kind of nice. A lot of movies, obviously. Town with No Name comes to mind, actually. Which is quite funny. In fact, I'm going to go on record now and say that this is a sequel to Town with No Name. If I've got the name right, I know it's got a few different names in the game. Anyway, I wonder if you can recreate the barkeep scene in this. I've seen a few of those memes, and surely there's a Red Dead Redemption one. I'm gonna give it a go. Anyway, yeah, so the voice acting's good. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who's an actor and a lover of film and theatre who doesn't play games, but she talks about wanting to play certain games because she knows that increasingly in modern games there are opportunities to enjoy good performances from actors and voice actors, and that's probably legitimate here so far. Although I would say that bad voice acting is a stronger, richer vein in video game history that I probably value more highly, personally. But and I'm inclined to say that games ordinarily don't need voice acting. But I don't really mean that. Obviously, it's so context specific and medium specific as to be almost trivial. Does a work need voice acting? Well, the inclusion of voice acting determines to what extent the sort of work it is. So there you go. Anyway, kind of circular argument there. Or talking about circular stuff. Anyway, Red Dead Redemption. What else is good about it? The graphics are obviously good. I don't. The combat could be fun, but that's just combat, isn't it? You like to shoot the gun, you know? But it's fucking stupid. One thing, I keep talking to people about this. I have only played it for one night. I played it, first of all, it's very... Why are modern games so difficult to play, to save? I'm borrowing this PS4. I struggled, first of all. I had to Google how to start a new game. When you open the game up, it says, what does it say? Social club and story. I clicked on story and it automatically loads the game file, which takes about a minute. So no like load game, new game options, which is pretty, and social club, which would have been fine. You gotta go into the game and then you have to go into new game from the loaded file, which is, to be honest, pretty stupid. Let's be honest. There's no need for that. So you have to load twice if you want to start a new game. Then I turned off auto saving because I was paranoid about saving over my friend whose PS4 this is, his file. The game's borrowed as well. Now without auto saving, I'd inadvertently fucked myself because I was playing for maybe 2 hours and I tried to save manually and it wouldn't let me save manually. You cannot save manually, as it turns out, as I found out after another Google, within a mission, while you're playing a mission. Now, I found this out and quite frustratedly decided, okay, well, I'll power on, even though I had to go to bed because I was up early for work the next morning, because I actually have a fucking life outside of playing games, which Rockstar have seemingly presumed, possibly quite accurately, fairly to be honest, that no one does. And I failed the mission, which is fine. I thought, okay, when I click retry, it will take me back to a point when I can save. But it took me back to the beginning of the mission within the mission, so I still couldn't save. Now, I sort of accept that I was, well, why should auto-saving be mandatory? Why should it be mandatory? No reason for that. Now, there's a lot of talking in this game, a lot of riding along on your horse and talking. I don't mind a lot of riding around. I never minded the sailing around in Wind Waker. I didn't mind running around in Skyrim, which I played 3 or 4 years late. Which I really enjoyed. I didn't mind running around Breath of the Wild, which again I played part of 3 years late. Really enjoyed. But they know the functions of the game betray the fact that these are just cutscenes. You can hold the big fat button in the middle of the controller and it goes into cinematic camera, which basically means the camera's dynamic according to sort of cinematic decision making about what will make this disguised cutscene more impactful. And while you're in cinematic view on your horse, you can hold X, and your horse will just keep following where it needs to go while you ride alongside your pal, and they talk and talk and talk and talk. So you're just kind of locked in. I mean, there's no reason not to do it, except the fact that actually I don't want a cinematic experience. I want a game world view. There is a very different feeling to what games look like, or what looking at the world looks like in games, like in Skyrim or Breath of the Wild. And that is supposed to do with cameras. And they've made a conscious choice they give you the choice of the cinematic version or your version, but I also can't be bothered just fucking tapping X to go faster, or holding X and sort of moving the control stick. I might as well press the big fat button, hold X for 2 minutes while they talk some shite, which I don't find very interesting. So big, long, basically cutscenes, very cinematic, very Hollywood, which is something that I really dislike as so strong a trend in games these days. And that's an analysis based on having played very few modern games. And I played one, and it turns out I was fucking right all along. So, the other thing, which is another thing that I've heard people talk about in new games, and it's been a suspicion of mine, and I have been totally and utterly vindicated. It's not hand-holding so much as making things interactive and making things a part of the gameplay, which actually should be cutscenes, never mind too many cutscenes. There are some things that should be cutscenes if they happen at all. The wheel falls off your wagon at one point, so you have to approach the wheel, and then it gives you a prompt, and it says left analog stick to pick the wheel up. That's essentially a challenge in the game, and it gives you the answer. So you press the left analog stick, and then it says, I think I remember, left analog stick to roll. So you do that, and you successfully roll it along. You hold that for like 4 seconds, and he rolls it along. And then he picks it up, and then it gives you another prompt. It says, press X to bash wheel. And you bash the wheel into the wagon. And it's just, I mean, that fucking blew my mind, how patronising the inclusion of that and how valueless that is. It's not that, oh, this is too easy, it's hand-holding. It's not that it's giving you the answers. It's not that it's meaningless tutorials, because I presume that you don't subsequently get a wagon whose wheel regularly falls off, and it's teaching you the skill set to bash the wheel back on. No, I don't think this ever happens again. It's just a thing that happens in the game, and it's giving you the agency, this guise of interactivity, of immersion, and it's a word that other people have used for this who are more au fait with modern games than I am. So again, totally and utterly vindicated in my in my humbuggery about modern games. It's fucking shite. It's unbelievable. There's another thing where you've got to grab a cord and attach, connect this cord from dynamite to a detonator. And it's just a case of holding the left analog stick for like 4 or 5 seconds. Why it's in the game is anyone's fucking guess. It's disgraceful. It's fucking ridiculous. And it does not bode well for me that there's going to be a lot of other elements of this, even in the, I know that it's like craft and sort of sustenance heavy in terms of like maintaining things, like there's a hunger bar, there's a life core and stamina bar, which I know I'm just going to need to keep eating and like making food probably. And I don't mind that in Breath of the Wild, because actually the food is health. It's just like potions, which is sort of classic and ordinary. But the thing is, I just know there's going to be loads of this shite. It's going to be so fucking time consuming. And also now this is where I'm opening myself up to criticism of your shite at this game. And that might be true, but I found the what is it, the kind of take cover mechanic very unreliable. I think you press R1 and you take cover underneath an obstacle. You know, I go under here. That is very hard to predict, which makes, and it seems to be a feature that the gunplay relies on quite a lot. You dodge and then you come out at the right moment, because I suspect that later in the game it's quite easy to die in 1 or 2 hits. So it's all about timing your shots correctly, and you can certainly kill people in like 1 or 2 shots if you're smart. Look, the gameplay aspect of it, that was fun when it worked. Sometimes it was a little bit too finicky, and there just always seems like there's a lot going on in terms of buttons. There's so many fucking buttons. And the variety of buttons used, face buttons, X, square, circle, triangle, seem arbitrary a lot of the time when they are so extremely context sensitive. So in Zelda, the context sensitive button is A. Is it? Yeah, it's A. So A does everything depending on where you are. Now, depending on where you are, it seems that you use any manner of buttons in this game. Square for picking up, or X for picking up, depending on what you're around. Triangle for your horse. But actually, a lot of these things were really fucking difficult to engage with. I can't remember. There was one thing in particular that I had to be in such a specific location to activate. And considering, the one benefit of having 2 or 3 or 4 context sensitive buttons for would be, okay, well, that means you can stand next to a deer corpse and your horse, and depending on which button you press, they correspond to different characters of action, so that in order to choose between these 2 actions that you might do, pick up the corpse or mount the horse, you don't need to change your orientation in order to do either one. You decide on that via one button or the other. But in order for that to be defensible, you would have to have, I think, therefore, a more lenient kind of radius or area within which you could activate any given command. But I had to be in such a specific location for, I think it was maybe picking up a deer carcass or something. And oh god, lassoing a guy. I don't need to do that in a game. Like, you've got so many fucking items and item slots. Your sidearm, your main weapon, like, just give me item slots, like, for fuck's sake. Anyway, I'm losing steam here. I'm getting carried away. I've had a stressful day. I just wanted to relax, but I had to get this done because I can't review it after I've played more of it, because then I might not have such strong opinions about it. I might not have such venom. I might be my rage might be neutered. So I've played it for one night, and it's crap. It's rubbish. It's irredeemable, and that's that. Now you don't ever have to play it. Thank you.